What's up, everyone? What's up, Carter? We are still in Alabama. We are right on the border of Alabama and Mississippi. Could you believe this store did not have peppermint patties? I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. Like I do every night. I'm just kidding. Where's everyone watching from tonight? Let me know. Let me know. got some brown sugar Pop-Tarts. I haven't eaten these since the last time I went skiing in Colorado. Or like the second to last time I went skiing in Colorado. I got a concussion that day. Freaking, it was like that last run. It was like the last run of the last run. It's like when you ski, you're always trying to get in one more run before the lift closes. At least I am. Ski like a maniac. Ski like as much as possible the whole day. Take a bathroom break and have lunch, and that's it. Anyway, it was like the third last run or the fourth last run, and I bombed down this mogul black diamond, and I like came off this mogul and just like flipped, and like the first thing to hit the ground was my head, and I wasn't wearing a helmet. I didn't grow up skiing. I didn't grow up wearing a helmet skiing. So yeah, and I got a really bad concussion. It lasted, I mean the effects lasted for months after, like 4 or 5 months. Maybe even possibly longer. Anyway, that's the last time. That day is the last time I had a brown sugar Pop-Tart, and I just got some. When I was a kid, like I was like so concerned that I had to like toast a Pop-Tart. I think one of my cousins had a Pop-Tart without toasting it, and I thought she was crazy, and I told her so. Granted, she was the same cousin that puts like syrup and ketchup on her eggs at the same time. So she like, you know, she had like at least 14 screws loose. So I felt righteous when I told her she was crazy for not toasting her Pop-Tart. Turn off your blinker. Turn off your blinker. Turn off your blinker, Harold. It isn't good if you keep your blinker on, Harold. What is wrong with you? I don't know. We got the cops up yonder. The cops, I think I saw this cop earlier before I stopped. He got snacks. Got some snacks. I think I saw this guy eyeing the public in their motor carriages, and this is the this is what's going on. This is the result of that, all that. Okay, he's on the left side for some reason. Figured he was on the right. That looks like more than a speeding ticket. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm probably right. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff out here. I have video of a lot of crazy stuff. I don't know that I'm gonna make like videos for this channel. I like actual. This is a video, but I mean like edited videos. Because it might ruin what this channel is. I do have some videos of some crazy stuff on the road. But I mean, we're going to see crazy stuff on the road together, so I really don't even need to put that up, right? I mean, right? I'll tell you, these brown sugar, what is it, brown sugar? Brown sugar Pop-Tarts are slamming. They're absolutely slamming. Oh, I got someone right on my ass. And yeah, okay. I think they're moving. No, they're not moving over. I hate when people ride my ass. Cattle hauler coming the other way. That's what I was telling you guys about earlier. How cattle hauling is the highest paying trucking job. It's not the highest paying trucking job technically, but it's pretty much the highest paying trucking job. The other highest paying trucking job is literally impossible to get. So, and that's carrying that's transporting missiles and ammunition. High security clearance, military equipment. It's pretty impossible to get that job, so cattle hauling is therefore the highest paying trucking job. So those guys make between 4K and 7K a week. Those are real numbers. I've been offered that job several times. The thing is, you cannot take breaks when you do that, so you have to do drugs. It's a must. It's part of the job. They give you a bag of coke and a bag of meth, and they're pick one. No, they don't actually do that, but a lot of those guys take drugs to stay up because you have to drive for 30, 40 hours straight to get the cattle where they're going, because if you stop for any period of time and they're still in the trailer, they'll die. They will literally die because they'll trample each other or they'll lay down and they'll get trampled, all kinds of things. I'm not a cattle hauler, so I couldn't really tell you the exact reason they die, but if they stop for longer than let's say 30, 45 minutes, they start dying. And that's money, because each cow, each bull is worth a good deal of money, right? So they do stop for 2 to 3 hours in friendly fields, friendly on friendly farms, and let the cattle out to roam and do their business and eat some. I don't know how often that is. I would say that's once a day. I could be completely wrong. I would think it's once a day, but I could be completely wrong. But cattle hauling is the highest paying trucking job. They make a lot more money than I do. And they're completely unregulated because of the cargo they have. So they don't have to follow. If anyone was to ask, yeah, they'd be oh yeah, we have to follow those rules, but they don't have to follow those rules, so they don't have to be inspected, and they go really fast. Some of those guys will literally drive 110, 120, 130 on the expressway. That's not an exaggeration. starting to get colder in here. I put a sweatshirt on for some reason, probably because I'm a bitch, but no, I'm just kidding. I did put a sweatshirt on. I want it nice and cold in here. I like it sometimes. I like it all the time, really. These are my normal lights. Well, so you guys see, so these are my normal lights, and these are just like slightly upgraded. But these are not brights. These are not brights. Well, obviously they're not brights. I mean, well, some, yeah, well, these are not brights. I will show you what brights look like as soon as we pass, as soon as this truck passes us, as soon as we pass this truck, I'll show you what brights are. And I'll generally even drive with them on, even when I can. So these are what brights look like. Sometimes I drive with them, sometimes I don't. The majority of the time, even if other people might drive in certain conditions with them on, I don't. Like I said earlier, we are in Alabama, on our way to Mississippi. We do have a stop in like 35-40 miles. I gotta get fuel. I stopped up here because I wanted peppermint patty, didn't have any. Maybe I should have just waited until fuel time, but I didn't know exactly where I was gonna fuel. I don't drive these roads too often, so I had to check if there was actually my preferred fuel stop, and they do have my preferred fuel stop coming up, so that's awesome. I can fuel anywhere, but I like to collect points at a truck stop so that I can get free by using the so I always try to fuel there because the points are like on a multiplier. So like the more you fuel there, the more points you get, etc., etc. Where you're all watching from. Brown sugar popcorns are banging. They're absolutely slamming. My favorite food on planet Earth is but it's the only food I'm a snob about. Like I won't I won't buy it if I'm in the middle of nowhere because it usually sucks. And I'm not, you know what? I'm really not trying to throw shade on people, but good Chinese food is few and far between. And like, God bless, like those of you who've never had good Chinese food because you don't know the difference. But like, there is such a massive difference between good Chinese food and then just like average Chinese food. Like, just like, it's like two different like universes. So that's my favorite food. If I could get really good Chinese food, then I'm in heaven. But it's not a normal circumstance. Anyway, that's my favorite food. My second favorite food is probably like pizza, and then after that, like a good steak. But like, so when we're on steak and things like that, I cook really well. So like, I'd rather have a steak that I cooked. I can cook it several different ways, but like, and you know, it's not hard. I'm not like I'm not like this like rocket scientist chef. But I'd rather have a steak I cooked than a steak at a steak restaurant. Don't get me wrong, I will eat a steak at a steak restaurant, but I'd rather have a steak I cooked because I know exactly how I like it. I know how much butter is needed, etc., etc. You know, so I pick out like the perfect cut at the market. You guys are wondering, like, am I stressed driving? No. Am I nervous driving? No. The only time I get stressed or nervous driving is when the conditions are conditions that I haven't encountered too often. So, like earlier, I was talking about these mountain passes that I went over a few weeks ago in, like, North Carolina and Tennessee, and they were treacherous to say the least. They were extremely hard roads, and this is summertime, and there was daytime, but they are extremely hard roads to drive safely on. If I was in a vacuum, meaning if I was the only one on those roads, then I'd still be a little stressed, and a little nervous, right? A little anxious. But the problem is, like, I wasn't the only vehicle on that road. So on these hairpin, on like these 180 degree. No, wait. No, wait, hold on. I'm trying to think here. Yes, that is the correct. So like, that's impossible. 180 is impossible. But on these like 160, 170 degree turns, and I'm not exaggerating, I had to go so slow because I couldn't hit a guardrail if it was there. A lot of the times there wasn't, but I had to stay, if there wasn't a guardrail, I had to stay away from the edge so that my trailer or my tractor didn't go over the edge. And I also had to be on the lookout for oncoming traffic, and I had to keep to my side of the road if they were coming. And it was so treacherous and so freaking ridiculous that it's the most nervous I've been in the truck, and the most stressed I've been in the truck. And I've driven in heavy winter conditions, like a lot of snow, a lot of ice, like very poor visibility. And the roads I drove on a few weeks ago in North Carolina, Tennessee, made me much more stressed and much more anxious than any winter condition that I've ever driven in. Maybe I'll make a post, like I'll put a post on the channel and I'll screenshot the maps of those roads so you can see how bad the turns were. They were ridiculous. But honestly, it was the most ridiculous roads I've ever been on. We are running low on fuel. Not too low, but we'll be fine. Gotta get some fuel. It just hasn't been my preferred truck stop today. There was earlier, but I didn't really need it then, and then we've just been running up and down these hills with... No, I mean, we got a good amount of weight today. We're not overloaded, but we got a good amount of weight, so drive the whole day with the weight I have behind me, and you're gonna run out of fuel. Like I said earlier, we are in Alabama, and we are headed to Mississippi tonight. We have about 100 miles remaining. I don't know if we'll be able to stream the whole time. Earlier, I ended the stream just because the cell phone service was not ideal. Picture you see, the emblem of my channel, the truck on fire. I took that picture in California on the I-5. I was headed south. That truck was headed north. Took that picture about 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago in 2022. That is my favorite picture that I've taken on the truck. I do not know if the occupant or plural occupants of that truck got out alive. I hope they did. Especially as it has become my favorite picture that I've taken on the truck, at least. I don't know if that's dark or not. It's just such a wild shot. Like the stream, remember to subscribe. You know what? Scratch that. Just subscribe now so that you don't miss a stream, and click the bell so you're notified whenever I am streaming. If you really like the stream, if you could, please share it with your friends, your family, just a couple of them, and your coworkers. The more people that watch, the more likely I am to continue streaming into the future. I really do enjoy having you guys with me on these drives. We have streamed at night. We have been together at night. I almost forgot. I just sometimes days blur. I streamed what was that? On like Monday, like early Monday morning, didn't I? Like late Sunday night, early Monday morning, I streamed. When we were headed down to Virginia Beach. back roads all day. We're about to get on the I-20, which is the second lowest, technically the third lowest, interstate that goes east to west, west to east in the United States. So there's 10, 20, 30, 40. There's a 50 and 60. They're not as used as 10, 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, 90. There's an 8 as well, but the 8 only goes through part of Arizona and California. So, I mean, if you want to include it, you could include it, but it doesn't go east to west, west to east across the entire United States like the 10, 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, 90 does. So, there you go. If you guys are craving something sugary, like, I mean, if you're, if you're a health nut, then I don't want to, like, influence your life. But if you're not a health nut, try some brown cinnamon sugar Pop-Tarts. Those were absolutely slamming. I really enjoyed those. We're going 68 miles an hour. That is 68, not 86, 68 miles an hour. So we'll do some like rough math. That's probably about 97. Hold on, no. Hold on, that's wrong. That's wrong. I didn't say it. That's wrong. Hold on. That is like 109 kilometers an hour. It's like 109. 68 miles an hour is like 109. In the comments, I mean, obviously I'm just doing this quick in my head. In the comments, feel free to correct me. Feel free. I used to transport brand new trucks like all over the country and to Canada as well. So sometimes I would I would transport trucks from Denton, Texas, which is just north of Dallas, to Montreal, and everything was in French, and the speedometer was in kilometers. So I'd be like driving down the road, and it would read out like 115, 116, 117, 118, 119. Sorry, 120, 121 kilometers an hour. And it would just like always be like a little wild to me, because I'd be like, whoa, look how fast I'm going. But it was kilometers an hour, so MBD. That job was absolutely fantastic. I just didn't make enough money. That was my favorite truck though. Easily my favorite truck by far. So I would like fly all over the country and pick up trucks and like drive places and stay in hotels and like go on a lot more dates than I do today. Cause like I could like shower all the time and like I'd feel good about myself. But I just didn't make enough money. All the expenses, like the flights and the train rides and the rental cars, were all up to me. So that's why I don't do that anymore. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I could definitely see myself doing it again as like the last 2 or 3 months of being on the truck. I could see myself doing that. It was just so much fun. Like one day I'd be in Portland, which is one of my favorite cities, and then I'd fly back to Texas, which is the main truck manufacturing state in the United States. So I'd fly back to Texas, and then I'd drive to like the middle of Florida, like Fort Pierce, Florida. Spend some time on the beach, maybe go south to Hollywood, and get an Airbnb right on the beach, etc. It was just a ball, absolute ball. Questions about my job or my favorite place. Oh, I'll tell you my favorite places right now. But if you have any questions about my job, leave them in the comments. Also, tell me where you're watching from, and I will look at them on my fuel break, and then I'll answer your questions right away in a little bit. But otherwise, just leave comments, and I will read them. If I can't read them, if there's no breaks, then I'll read them that night and answer them in the next stream, which will always be the next day. Unless I'm taking a break. I will be taking a break for at least a few days. So this will be going on every day for at least like the next 6 or 7, 8 days. We'll see. Interstate 20 in the United States. We're in Alabama. We're about to be in Mississippi in like a few minutes. We will be having a short intermission in like 20 minutes. So you'll be able to go to the bathroom, get a snack, and call your loved ones. But we will be right back to it after I get some fuel up in this piece. Okay, so check it. 4, 3, 2, 1. We are in Mississippi. Hope you guys are enjoying Mississippi. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so you've never been to Mississippi, you're in Mississippi now. I haven't spent much time in the state at all. Been here a bunch. I think I've slept everywhere, so I've definitely slept here, but I haven't actually like had a nice meal here. I can't remember a workout I've done here. I can't remember a long hike or a long walk I've done here, sadly. So, yeah. We're going 6.9 miles an hour. That's not 9.6, that's 6.9 miles an hour right now. Get those dirty motherfucking thoughts out of your motherfucking heads. Okay? It's just a number. Padiddle on a truck, 2 Padiddle trucks in a row. You guys know the game Padiddle? It is when I would guess a lot of you don't know, and I would guess a lot of you do know. Sounds kind of weird. So when a headlight is out in a car, you say Padiddle, and then you hit the roof of the car. And then whoever does that first wins that round of Padiddle. But like there's certain points for like certain vehicles. So like for a car, you would get 1 point if a headlight was out. And you actually said Padiddle first, right? And then you might say like a truck with the headlight out is like you get 3 points. And then if you wanted like a cop car, it might be 5 points. And then something like an ambulance or a fire truck, you could say it was like 10 points, because that's like never gonna happen, right? it's a lot of fun. You should try it. I'll explain it again in the future just so you guys get it down pat. And I have an advanced version, and my ex and I made this up. We did Badiddle too, so like if we saw a taillight out, that would be Badiddle. Maybe we were nerds, they were nerds, but it's a lot of fun when you're driving. It's a lot of fun. You guys should try it out. Like I said earlier, if you have any burning questions, ask them now, because we're about to stop for a short break, and I will answer your questions right after the break. I'll read them on the break, and I'll answer them right after the break. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, we can talk about them coming to you real soon. I'm extremely excited to be out here doing this with you guys, and it makes me feel a lot happier when I'm driving and streaming at the same time, where instead of the alternative when I'm not driving and streaming at the same time. This is a job, and it's not hard necessarily like, oh my god, like I have to know all this stuff. I do have to know all this stuff for certain situations. That's not why I'm saying that. It's just because of the amount of time I spend alone, and the way I have to live makes this hard. That's what makes this hard. Not necessarily the technical part, or the roads, or the traffic, or the weather, but the fact that I have to be alone a lot of time, and I have to eat crappy food, and I have to sleep in weird places. That's what makes it hard. But I endure. But having you guys ride along with me is just awesome. And I felt better than I have in months over the past few days streaming. So, it's been awesome. started in Georgia this morning, late morning, early afternoon. Ran our asses into Alabama, and now we're in Mississippi, where we will end the evening together. And I'm looking for my exit. I didn't write it down, and I didn't really look at it. I think it's like 155. That is where we are stopping for fuel. Yeah. Sorry. There's an exit. There's a sign coming up. I'm gonna say it's 155. You know, if at 156, I think there might be like a really good Mexican restaurant around here. I wish I could stop for the night here, but I have to get my cargo there tonight. I'm not that far. Like, if I didn't have to get it there tonight, I would stop near that Mexican restaurant and eat and sleep there. It's pretty slim. State police. What are you doing out here, state police? Alright. Must be 154. Still haven't seen a fuel cell. Pretty sure it's 154. Hopefully it's 154. Get off and get on. I think we're gonna get off and get on. Yeah. I think it's like the next exit. That stinks. Oh well. That's okay. I just need fuel, so I can't miss it. Okay, I think it's this exit. This next one. Yeah, I see a sign. It's coming up. Mississippi. The state. Not a lot of signs. What? Okay. 153. Now I remember it. Of course, now I remember it, right? But that's not it. It's 151. I knew it was 15 something. I thought it was 155. 151. Get some. No, I can't rap. No, I'm not gonna try to rap. Maybe I will. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm absolutely lying right now. fibbing. Do you guys tell me in the comments? Do you guys? What is it? Why are you driving so slow, dude? I don't really mind too much because I'm getting off now, but this guy is driving really slow on the highway, and I'm not passing him because I'm getting off. So I'm not going to pass again to get off and slow down in front of someone. But yeah. And those flashing lights up ahead, that's not an ambulance, that's not a fire truck, that is not a cop. That is just a truck with a larger than normal amount of cargo. So some of them have a crazy amount of lights like that. They do not all have a crazy amount of lights like that. This is actually abnormal. So, I don't know how I feel about that, because like a lot of people think it's a cop or a fire truck or an ambulance, and then they don't know what to do. Some people just see flashing lights and they're just like, oh my god. So yeah, this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts that I'm driving this slow. And now it's definitely not enough time to get around these people. This truck is stopping for some unknown reason. This is the guy that's been in front of me going slow. He must have some kind of issue. Maybe his crank is wearing off. I'm not sure. What up, everyone? If you're new to the stream, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a stream. These are not scheduled. So hit that notification bell. Click on it so you don't miss a stream. Off the highway for a few minutes. Minor issue. Minor issue. We're at the Pilot truck stop. This is my truck stop of choice. I always try to go here so that I can get as many points as possible, so that I get free food and things like that. guys have never been to a truck stop, this is what it looks like at a truck stop. We are here to get fuel. We'll be here for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and then we will be out again, where we will be going deeper into Mississippi. What's up, everyone? Yo, Rakeem, Beta Alpha. What's up, John Hamilton? Hey, Craig. What up to Australia? Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Oh, that's cool, Rakeem. You're from England. That's cool. Yeah, I've been to London. I stayed at the Generator Hostel in, I could look it up. Russell Square. The you guys can look that up right now. It still exists. Look up the Generator Hostel. I think it's near the Russell Square train station off the Tube in London. That's where I stayed when I was in London. The Generator Hostel off the Russell Square train station, which is right next to the British Museum. It was just an awesome place to be, like I said, because it was right next to the British Museum, so it was just perfect place to stay. So if you're in London on a budget, stay at the Generator Hostel. It was amazing. Met a bunch of cool people there. We went clubbing, bar hopping, went to like every single museum in the area. I got discount tickets for the train to Paris, like heavily discounted tickets for the train to Paris by getting like this international student ID. Took the train to Paris, stayed there for a few days. So many stories that I'll tell you guys in the future. ready to go? You ready to roll? Alright, let's go. Let's go. Thank you for the hearts. I could see those popping up. Thank you very much. Thank you for the love. It should clear up in a second. It gets like this at night when it's hot outside and they have the air conditioner running, as temperature changes, etc. You guys see this sign for Jackson? Thinking about that Johnny Cash song. Oh, yeah, Jackson. I forget the words right now. Honestly, that is like the last song that my ex recommended to me. Well, she started singing it to me, so it's a little sore. A little sore for me, a little sore subject. But it's an awesome song. We got married, a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. That's the first words of the song. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. Check it out if you haven't heard it. It's a pretty awesome song. This guy's swinging around a little in the left lane. When it looks like a car or a truck is like kind of swerving around, usually they're going too fast for their health. And he cut me off. That's awesome. And that's not a regular semi truck, or I mean, yeah, this is like child's play. It's a box truck jockey. It's a box truck. It's a wannabe. It's always wannabes in every industry. And this is one of them right here. Yeah, if a truck or car is swinging from side to side, a lot of the time that's just going to be they're going too fast for the vehicle they're in under the road conditions. It doesn't. They're under the influence of something, but they definitely can be under the influence of something at the same time, which might be causing them to drive faster. Or which may just like let it be okay for them to drive faster in their muddled brain. slow clip for most of the day because we've been on back roads. We are finally on the interstate and moving. We are booking. You're just joining the stream. We started out in Georgia today, drove through Alabama, picked up some goods, and we are dropping those goods right now in Mississippi. For all those new to the stream, I am transporting goods in a semi-truck around America as my job. We will be out here most every day at all hours of the day and night, dependent upon the current run I am on and where I am going. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit that notification bell so it tells you when I am streaming. We're going to be going a lot of places together over the next few months. Let me know if you guys have any questions about what I do as a truck driver in the United States. Just leave them in the comments and I'll read them tonight before I go to bed, and I'll answer all those questions tomorrow morning. As we will be headed out in the morning going someplace new. That is the same box truck that passed us earlier that I said was going too fast for his cargo or his truck. One of those factors. That happens more often than I can tell you, that a truck, a car that haphazardly passed me earlier is on the side of the road in a few minutes or a few hours. getting super crummy. Trying a bunch of things. It's just, I think it's just like the mix of you. The hot air outside, the humidity, and just the difference in temperature change. This usually doesn't get this crummy. Thank you, Mississippi. Guys haven't been around the U.S., I'd say the two most beautiful states in the United States are Oregon and Utah. I have driven through the middle parts of Oregon in the winter, and the sheer number of the tunnels of trees and things like that are just incredible. Same with Washington State, too, just depending on what road you are on. If you're on the 12 going west or east, I recommend that road if you're in the Pacific Northwest. And Utah, the rock formations and desert and mountain regions are just absolutely incredible and just unlike anything I've seen anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. I have traveled a lot around the world. I have not been in the wheels are necessarily in other countries like I have in the United States, though. So that is something I've yet to really do. When I travel to other countries, I usually just go to cities and things like that. Our time together tonight is short. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You have no idea how much it helps me on these drives, and I'm just so happy to have started this stream on this channel. I'm really excited to see what we can do with it. Do you guys ever hear of South of the Border in South Carolina? It is a destination for sure. It has an amusement park. It has a bunch of different shops with cool knickknacks. It has a fireworks store. When was that? Tuesday. Today's Thursday. So yeah, on Tuesday morning, I took all of you to South of the Border, and we walked around and checked out the whole area, went to a few stores, checked out all the items and the fireworks and the statues of big, jolly, fat Mexican men and dinosaurs. If you guys want to check that out, it is labeled in the past streams. If you want to look at streams on my channel or any channel, go to the live section and then you can find the streams. There are no uploaded videos on this channel anymore. At least not that you'd be able to see. my favorite kind of RV. So the RV is on, like, sitting in the truck bed. I almost bought one of those several times. I never did. I doubt I will now. But yeah, so it's a pickup truck, and then you seat the RV inside the pickup truck, and it overhangs on top of the hood too. So there's like just a great efficiency in terms of space, and also gas mileage, because you're not towing something. It's actually becomes part of the vehicle itself as they're like, it becomes one unit. Alright guys, I've had a fantastic evening with you. I hope you've had a fantastic evening watching the stream. I'm going to have to end soon as I am dropping. If I do continue on tonight, which I may, I'd say the chances of me continuing on are actually quite good. So we might be back, but we may not. If we are back, I will see you soon. If not, I will see you tomorrow morning when we head northwest. Have a great evening, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.